We're all set.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the April Rec Committee regular meeting. Hannah, is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I circulated the March meeting minutes before this meeting, so I hope everyone has had a chance to review them. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the March meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving right along to old business. The first item is grants and the municipal planning grant, and unfortunately, there is no movement on that final report. So the town does not have it yet.
Oh.
So I can circle back with Tara again and see where that stands. I think it was due in December, but I'm not sure.
I wonder if it just got lost in the mix up. Like I can reach out to, what was his name? Mark's the guy who was running that project, right?
No, it was
Scott, and I know Sam. I mean, I can.
Yeah, I know Sam and Callie was working on it too. Yeah, we can, maybe we should just kind of reach out through our networks and see if we can get any word on what's going on there.
Tara has been talking with Bill Colvin, who works with BCRC, and with Scott. There's been a lot of employee turnover there, and then Scott also had an illness that he was dealing with.
Oh.
I almost think that he did send that to Tara this past week, though.
Oh,
So I
okay.
will
Okay.
check with her. and
Okay.
Get that sent over to you.
Cool.
She has it.
Sounds good. So hopefully for the May meeting, we'll discuss that report. In terms of the VOREC grant, I think we have some good updates on that, although we didn't have our steering committee meeting today. That's actually next week. I don't want to steal your thunder, Nate. Nate has a lot of good updates.
Oh, well, yeah. So, I mean, I guess really the only update is just we sort of submitted our trail designs for these Act 250 sort of I guess it's not really an approval. It's an approval to not go through the Act 250 process. What do they call it? A judiciary
Jurisdictional
opinion.
Yep.
So anyway, they looked at it, they said, we're fine and good to go ahead with it, which was kind of the last big block. So yeah, on Monday, the 14th, which is not this coming Monday, but the Monday after that.
What is this coming Monday?
You're right. It is this coming Monday. What day is it? It's Tuesday. Right. It's Tuesday today. It is this coming Monday. It's not the Monday that just passed. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, next Monday, the 14th, I'm going to be taking a few people involved, one person from the Youth Conservation Corps who's going to be sort of designing and building the trails with us, and then a couple folks from the Taconic Hiking Club to hike up to sort of what I think is the best option for the Taconic Crest connector and see what they think. And hopefully having all of those people together and the need to kind of be together will make it all happen kind of that day. And we can at least go ahead sort of with a verbal understanding that we're doing what is asked of us.
Cool.
So anybody's welcome to come with. We'll hike up to the Taconic Crest at 10:30, which is probably about an hour each way. And then probably have a quick bite to eat. And then the afternoon, I'm going to show Anna, who's the rep from the Youth Conservation Corps, the lower trail loop that's there. So yeah, maybe like 12:30 or somewhere in that ballpark. If anyone wants to come and just walk that lower loop, we'll just kind of be up past the entrance, but kind of right in the, give me a call and I can let you know where that's yeah. So that's all great. So, we don't really know, we're not sure how much of how many trails they'll actually be able to develop, but getting a design in place is kind of the first step anyway.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's really a promising development.
Yeah, it's great. It's super exciting. Mhm.
At this point, and Anna is going to be the project manager for Vermont Youth Conservation Corps.
Anna?
So she's coming to do the site visit to provide a scope of work. And then once we have the scope of work, which will include some trail design, and then I think an estimate of how many weeks they think it will take to do certain trails, like give us maybe a menu of options, because we're limited based on the grant funding. And then we'll move ahead with that contract and hopefully the design right away.
Mhm.
Because I don't think that, they can't physically do the work till September, but hopefully they can do the design right away. And then with the Taconic Hiking Club participating, I do think that's a really important development, because I think you laid out 3 different possible routes to connect to the Taconic Crest Trail, although some are, more preferential than others. And I think, the Vermont DEC wanted the input of the Taconic Hiking Club. And I think we'll follow their lead and what they recommend because the DEC is the final
Got it.
sign off on that. But I think this is great. So
Yeah.
moving right along.
And then from a time and money perspective, we said we prioritize the lower loop, right?
I think so. Yeah. I wanted to just, I wanted to make sure that we got everybody's eyes on the Taconic Crest connector just so that
Yeah.
when we're ready to do it, we can. But yeah, I think it probably makes sense to focus on the lower loop first.
Well, I think we wanted the Taconic because that was part of the VORAC grant.
Oh.
The actual connection to an interstate trail system.
Oh, do we have to?
I think luckily if we go the way I'm hoping we will, it's really, a pretty short stretch that isn't already sort of logging road that we'd have to take up there. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. But yeah, I have no concept how much time it's going to take to do. And it's steep. They're going to have to do a bunch of switchbacks, but yeah, okay. That's good to remember. And I will make sure that they know that we have to that's sort of priority 1.
Yeah, that is actually mentioned in the grant agreement,
Okay.
tying into any, and that was part of our grant application, the opportunity for that. I think the lower loops might not be as heavy of a lift, but we'll see what they say.
Yeah, the lower loop has kind of a bunch of potential little interconnections. So maybe it's just kind of picking one of those possible connections and doing, it's just scaling it back a little bit or something.
Yep. Yep. And then also, I can't remember, is it $8,000 a week is the Vermont Youth Conservation Corps?
I don't remember exactly what the cost was, but I remember they said they only had 2 weeks to throw at it.
Yeah.
And whatever amount it was, it was a little less than what we had sort of set aside to get it done. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because we have some money in the Parks and Rec separate checking account that, maybe we could see, depending on the menu of options, if we might be able to afford additional time.
Sure.
And that, so that's always an option too.
Okay.
But that's where it stands.
Do they usually bring a big crew with them there?
They have a
2
whole
weeks?
crew.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know, is it six or 8 in the crew? I can't
I
remember.
don't know exactly. Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been too long. So.
Cool.
So that's with that. Also, still plugging away at the integrated management plan. I think I've made some headway, and Nate, I see you've made some updates as well.
I did a few little things.
Working on the conservation portion of that, on those goals and that. And with that, Nate and I met with the town fire ward. To get some input on fires and things of that nature. And he had some good suggestions of things to have at the kiosk. So I thought that was a really good meeting to have. And so we're just chipping away at that. And then once we have a good draft, we'll put it up for public comment. I think some areas that we still need input on, I know the Fish and Game Club is one area we wanted to get some input on. And there are some other things, when you look at other management plans from other forests in Vermont, like some people allow maple sugaring and others allow it just for educational purposes. And so there's a myriad of topics, like some like allow art installations,
Mhm.
things like that, and others, are not. So there's a variety of things. I know we can't, tackle every possible option in the initial draft of this plan, but we're just trying to cover as much of the bases as we can. So making progress on that also. I know, Nate, that you sent the maps of the trails out by email to Julie.
Yeah, and I followed up with her and sent her a few other things she asked me
Okay.
to. So yeah, hopefully they have all the info now. And she said that she was able to sort of see it and print it out and everything.
Okay, so maybe we could follow up with them.
Yeah. I can send Julie an email just to follow up.
Okay,
And just see if there's been anything on that. Cause yeah, I know Brian hasn't been to the last couple meetings. Yeah, I'll just see if they have any questions or.
yeah, I think too, with the use of the fishing game club, like open to the public, I don't know if there's any rules or what, I don't know any. Just interested to learn a little bit more about that.
Cool. And I did mention that in the email I sent her, just that, yeah, sort of specifically what we were looking for was kind of any rules they want to have around fishing game club.
Okay.
In there and also, yeah, like any suggestions on sort of where, I know this is kind of sensitive, but yeah, sort of on where we need to, where the good pinch points are to sort of block off ATVs higher up on the mountain.
Mhm. I think we wanted to clarify, like, how do you become a member?
Yes, definitely.
What is a member?
It'd be nice if they had some information in there. Little shed there, building.
Yeah.
It says, here's the contact information for the club. Here's the history of the club.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same situation as a lot of the committees and commissions. It's just like there's just kind of a few people, none of them are super tech savvy and they're all volunteers. So I think they have none of that stuff as far as I know. And I don't know really how much capacity I have to create it either without us kind of lending a hand.
I'm certainly willing to help.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a role that we could play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a delicate thing just because we want to make sure that we kind of let them take the lead on it. But I will continue to kind of offer support on that stuff.
Okay. Are there any other questions on the Vorik grant?
No. Well, the Act 250, that was just the trails
That was just the trails.
We're still waiting for the rest of it then?
Tara submitted the rest of it in early March. I did check the status of it and it still says pending in review. And I looked at the flow chart and it's kind of like they review it and they decide if it's going to be a minor application or a major application.
Mhm.
And a minor application is pretty quick. It's like a 20-day notice and these are the steps you follow. But a major application is a longer process. It did say something like the majority of applications are minor applications and that it's typically the cycle is like 90 to 120 days or something like that, it's completed. So,
Okay.
so it's still in review. So it's not decided yet if it's minor or major. So that'll really tell the timeline.
Mhm.
It's been just a month. Right. I think it was like March 7th or something
Yeah.
that it was filed. So hopefully very shortly. Okay, the Stewart's Holiday Match, the bike station. So the bike station was ordered. It is shipping on April 11th, which is Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, so it's shipping Friday. I don't know how long it'll take to get here. So we should have it, I would say, in the next week or so. And I know, Nate, that you said Stewart's Shops reached out
Mhm.
and wanted to take like a photo op or whatever.
I think it's just like a kind of big
It
check
is, yeah.
photo thing.
Nice.
So yeah, Jen responded saying that we're getting this thing in on the 11th. So hopefully if they can wait, we can actually like get the thing installed and then take a picture so they can see
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we can add something like that to our website, that's, and also reach out, maybe do some reaching out to the local bike groups. And I think that's.
That'd be a great idea. Yeah, yeah, just kind of make sure people know that it's here
And where's it gonna go?
At the park.
somewhere down here. Is there, in terms of installation, how does that happen?
We talked about potentially needing a pad under it, right?
It does need concrete.
Mhm.
It needs some form of concrete.
Is that something that we have to like hire out to the road crew, other people, or can we get volunteers together to just do
You can
it?
have volunteers do it.
Okay.
I don't exactly remember what the installation instructions were, but it didn't seem overly.
Okay.
Wouldn't be that big of a pad, right?
No,
Yeah.
I
no.
would guess you can use like a sonotube or something to.
Yeah, well,
Into-
we'll see. I've got a bunch of bags of concrete mix over at my place and a big sonotube
That
if we need
surprised me.
it. So yeah, if we have to, we can just go out there and dig a hole and make it happen. Yeah, if I can, I guess when it comes in, I'll take a look at the instructions and then, yeah, I might be able to pull together a couple of people just to go over there and put it in. I'm sure Cliff would be willing to help.
My husband, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll help.
Great.
Help.
Awesome. So yeah, maybe we can get that done. Yeah, in the next week or two.
Okay, sounds good. And maybe the weather will be cooperative by then too.
Mhm.
So,
Do you want to try and kind of make contact with a couple of the
Yeah,
local
absolutely. I
bike
can
people
do
and
it.
just let them know what we're doing?
Yeah, sure. And just tell me the background, we applied for this or how did we? how did-
Yeah, we apply, it's a Stewart's matching grant.
that's right. Yeah.
That we applied
Oh, okay.
for. And yeah, they gave us $1,500 to do it, which is very, very nice of them.
they are.
And does Stewart's have any sort of specific language that they want us to?
No, not really. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great, I mean, even if it's just an informal, hey, we just wanted to let you guys know that we're putting this in. So if you have maps of the area, feel free to, handwrite on there or whatever.
The Future Cafe is gonna be right there and.
I like the way you're thinking. Submit for did you submit a suggestion for the old town hall there?
I didn't.
All right, the next item is Center Street Park Maintenance Plan. And I know Nate, you had already talked to Cliff.
Yeah. So he was really psyched. He said really the only thing that we should think about for kind of the nearish term is doing a little bit of like patching of the cracks in the pavement there. So, I mean, he and I could go down there one day and do it, and it's probably, $50 or $100 worth of materials or something. So yeah, I think where we're at on that is we voted that we could throw a little money at it the last time, right? So yeah, I think I'll talk with Cliff and we can, figure out a time once the weather warms up just to set up a little volunteer thing and then we can put it up on Front Porch Forum or something like that.
Why not do the installation of the bike
Yeah, good idea.
Might as well do it all.
day, do the same volunteer day?
Yep, okay. So maybe we should take a look at the calendar and just try and find a day that makes sense to try and do that, like, maybe like Saturday the 19th or something like that.
If that is day before Easter.
Oh, you're right. Yep. I could do, crap, I can't do Sunday. I could do a weekday at some point or like an evening after work or something like that.
What about the 27th? Is that too late?
I mean, if we can get people together for it, it's not too late. I think it might be too late to get the picture taken, but we could also, like, if we have the thing and it's just in a big box, we could just have them take a picture of us standing in front of the box, that has a picture of the thing on it or something.
Did they give you a timeline that they needed to have the,
Not specifically. He gave me the impression that they were trying to kind of get it done
yeah,
soonish. But I can ask him. I mean, certainly like, actually, I won't be here on the 27th. No, I will be here on the 27th.
26th, I guess.
Okay.
26th is Saturday.
Saturday the 26th. Let me, I will make a note and I'll shoot him an email and ask him if that's too late or not. How's that? Because, that's fine for me to put it in.
But that might just be for the pad though. They might have to let the pad.
I would think,
Right.
yeah, it'll have to.
Oh, yeah, well, so maybe the way to do it then is, the weekend before I could try and get out there and put the pad in, and then we can let it cure for a week and then do the installation the following week or something like that. Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of at least a vague plan. And yeah, I'll ask Stephen just sort of what the time frame
They
is.
deliver it here to town hall?
I don't know.
Let me just look at
I'm just
the,
wondering
yeah, let me look
how we'll
at
know when it's here.
the shipping is to Town of Pownell, 511 Center Street. Yep.
Well,
Along with that, at our last meeting, we talked about the trash at the park. And so I did follow up with Tara about that, and she said it was Bill's responsibility in the past, and obviously he's left. Let's see, the road crew would be assigned, but they might need some reminders. If someone bagged the trash and left it up at the town office, they could send it with their trash pickup. Or if someone goes to the transfer station and wanted to take it, you could just tell Tom it's for the park and it's free of charge. She said that the transfer station picks up the trash on Friday here. So there's a couple of different options. We bring the trash up here, we take it ourselves, ask to have the road crew try to remember to pick it up. Those are the three options.
I mean, the ideal one is to get the road crew to do it, right?
Yeah.
I'd say let's start there. And then if they're having problems with it, yeah, we could try and, maybe each of us could volunteer to do it 1 week out of the month or something like
Yeah.
that, just at least bring it up. I mean, yeah, that's usually.
Kind of schedule it should have some kind of plan to say, hey, can you do it on
Yeah.
a monthly basis?
I mean, I assume like every week or, I mean, especially if there's people throwing like, I don't know, foodie kind of stuff in there or whatever, I'd be worried about like bears getting to it and other stuff
Yeah.
or.
I just don't want it to become an attractive nuisance, right? Like,
Yeah. When the town gets their stuff picked up here once a week, right?
that's what it says.
Uh-huh.
Theirs picked up once a week.
Was it being picked up once a week before?
Down there.
Mhm.
I don't know the frequency of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could ask Bill how often he went down there to swap it out.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to assist since I'm right here. I just would need to put a note on my calendar.
Mhm.
And I don't know what amounts of trash we're talking about. We actually don't go to the transfer station that often, so, but
I don't.
it doesn't matter.
My guess is not a whole heck of a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I could start off just by volunteering and seeing how it works, but.
I just
Fine
need
with
to
you. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Precedent,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
because then we'll be doing it forever.
Okay, well, just let me know.
Yeah, that's really nice of you to offer. And yeah, I'm also happy to come by and
Okay.
do it once a month or whatever, if that's what we have to do.
Okay. Celebrate Pownell Day, Saturday, July 26th. The only thing I was going to mention about that was for the picnic, I will plan to purchase some supplies before the end of our budget year so that we can use some of this year's budget to buy some of that as well. I think it's just more like, like ketchup, like all that kind of stuff, accompaniments, I guess you would call it, to get that purchased. And then we have a grill here down in the basement, and we usually borrow one from Pownell Youth Sports, but I didn't know if anybody else had a grill that we could borrow, because we have two grills.
Yeah, we always have two girls.
We always have two grills going. So that would be the only other ask if you have a grill.
Are you looking for like a big like gas grill or like charcoal or
Gas grill.
Okay, a gas grill.
It doesn't have to be big.
Uh-huh.
It's just,
Regular gas grill, yeah. It's
the
regular.
one that we bought is pretty good size, right?
Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
How many people do you usually have that you serve?
A few hundred.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
you need a couple. Yeah.
Mhm.
Brian's cooking from an hour before to right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
we cook it up. This last year, we cooked a lot of it in advance because The first year, we just got bombarded with it taking so long to cook and the line just got so long waiting for.
It's something we can put out on Front Porch Forum just to ask volunteers.
We just borrow one sometimes.
I mean, I'm sure we can borrow from Powell Youth Sports. I just wasn't sure if anyone else had one that we needed.
Sounds like we also might need additional volunteers to actually like make burgers though, right? Like would that
I'm
be?
happy to help cook or whatever. I don't have a grill here in the area, otherwise I'd volunteer one,
Yeah, it's okay.
but I know you can rent them too from like car.
We were gonna do that. It costs a few $100s.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, to rent it. So it was like, oh, that's why we ended up, or the town ended up buying one last year. It was like, oh, I guess we'd rather sink it into.
It's true. Yeah, I guess we spend a couple $100, you might as well just get a grill.
Get a grill.
Keep it, yeah.
So,
We actually have one, but I have no idea if it works or I'll check.
I mean, we have one. It's just a big hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off of the, it's really heavy, that whole thing. So
Mm.
anyway, okay. Let's see. Recreational signage. I know Nate, you were gonna.
Yeah, so actually that ties into Panel Day well. So, what's going on? So, well, in terms of Panel Day, I was thinking about personally just donating a little bit of money to get access to a booth area, that was going to be for the sort of formerly trolley path people to try and kind of do a little PR building in town and talk about kind of what we're thinking. So I think that ties really well into a lot of the Parks and Rec stuff, because really what the sort of panel section of that path is focusing on is just recreational signage for the Western Greenway, basically. So yeah, like I think I'm gonna throw out the money to do that, but I guess if Parks and Recreation wants to have any materials or information or like promotional stuff, or I don't know, just like anything that we need to kind of like tell the community about, that's potentially a good way to do it.
Yep.
So I don't know what that would be, but just as an option, like if we have anything we feel like we need to say, that may be a place to do it.
Okay. I think we talked about putting up recreational signage at locations in town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so I guess the other part of that is that Susan Grasso, who works for Local Motion, which is like a biking nonprofit, just talked to her the other day, and she's going to send me this. They've done a bunch of research on sort of signage and pricing and specifications and stuff. So I'm hoping that I can kind of piggyback on that to be able to get an idea of kind of how much it would cost us to put in signs, and then we can start to kind of think about, maybe this is a good kind of like little working group thing, like to sort of brainstorm the list of like the most important places that we want to put signs on that don't have signs yet. Because it is going to be expensive. I don't think we're going to be able to kind of do everything at once necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, one other thing kind of tangentially related to that, just for folks to think about here, is we need fundraising for a lot of this stuff. And I think it's high time we think about kind of creating a fundraising working group that can maybe even work across multiple committees and commissions. So if anybody has fundraising experience or is interested in doing that, I don't exactly know how to formalize it, but all of this stuff needs money. So I think we need to formalize some sort of infrastructure for like writing grants with the town.
Okay.
Does it have to be independent of the committee work? I mean, like what's the?
It doesn't have to be, but the trick is like we have to be aware of the quorum numbers, because if we had a group of, say, because we're only
Three of us
right, so yeah, if there were three of us
It would be
here.
outside
Okay.
the public meeting, like,
Well, 3 is okay because that's 50%.
3 is okay, 4 is not.
bad.
So yeah, the advantage of doing it across multiple committees is that we could have like 2 people from a bunch of different committees, which could form a group bigger than 3 people, but not have to comply with any of the quorum issues. So it gives us more firepower without breaking any laws, basically, if we can get a few people from different committees that all sort of have similar goals. Because, the planning committee, like they've got a vested interest in this BCRC stuff going on. Like, I think there's a lot of overlap with the projects that everybody's working on. So yeah, not a fully formed thought, but there it is.
Yeah, I think they would have to work in tandem with Tara and,
Yeah.
Hannah, because the select board has to approve all
That's what my,
grants.
Definitely,
and,
definitely.
Um,
Well, yeah, I think it would,
application for any
I think
grants.
really it would probably be largely working as sort of an extra arm of
Okay.
Tara's power, So like, if she can help us identify grants, then we would have a team of people that could help her actually like write the grant proposals and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point, that like going to Tara is probably a good next step to kind of think about how we could be helpful to her.
Because the town does have a grant policy,
Mhm.
an official policy.
On like, just like who can write the grants, or just like sort of like getting permission to write grants? I guess I should just read it.
Yeah, it's like it had some language in there, like,
Okay,
yeah, so.
okay, well, yeah, so it sounds like I should do a little research and make sure that what I'm thinking about actually is possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
but when you say fundraising, I mean, are we also talking about private fundraising?
I
Or is
mean,
it just grants?
I think, well, I'll have to read this document, but I think that there's nothing, there isn't a problem with going after sort of, private foundations or individuals to donate money. And they would still kind of, it might not be a grant, it might just be a donation, but just, I think just kind of funds in general. Although I'm sure sort of any requests of funds from anyone would probably have to go through the select board, whether or not it's technically a grant. If for no other reason, just to make them feel like we're not going behind their back on anything.
Okay.
I would think the Stewart's Holiday Match would be an example of one of those private donation type.
Yeah. I don't know, what technically makes something a grant versus a donation. But yeah, I mean, that's like a private entity donating to us versus like a nonprofit or something like that.
Anything in kind does not have to go to the select board for approval. So, but cash, a monetary.
Okay.
Stewart's donates to the town picnic in the form of food and beverages and all of that. That isn't, it's not necessary to go to the select board for that kind of.
Because it's in kind.
Because it's in kind, but for monetary, it is a requirement. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I have Clayton Park on here. I don't know if there's a follow-up on that from last month.
My feeling on Clayton, I've been thinking about this just today. I think we should just kind of table it until we're through the town forest stuff. Cause I think,
No problem.
it's a really cool idea, but I just don't think we have the manpower to make anything happen. Yeah.
All right, Hoosick Bend Trail post-winter assessment. I think that was Seth.
So I'm down there about every day. It's in pretty good shape. Definitely there were some deadfalls that I went and cleared off the trail. Definitely some evidence that there's some ATV use going on, but I don't know if it's signed, so I don't know. And people certainly used the road kind of to as kind of a transit route. So
Okay.
So there is a sign like at the trailhead that says no.
yeah, there's a sign, there's rules, no hunting, trapping, firearms, ATVs.
Okay.
But it's clear there's no trees. I think we talked about.
Yeah, there's no trees. There was a couple deadfalls.
Okay,
Nice.
okay, great.
So.
Nice job. Way to take things in your own hands. Yeah.
And I was surprised someone had already done some of it. So,
Really?
yeah.
I know I have gone there before and something that was there was chopped out before. So
Yep.
people are of their own volition.
That's
There's a
really,
number of folks in the neighborhood that use it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay,
not the only one. So.
Yeah.
that's great.
okay. And I have on here from last month, participation in community conversations. So I think you said that
Green Up Day is the next one.
Update is the
Yeah,
next
so they're
one.
up now.
I don't know, so maybe, are we looking at May or June?
I think May. I can double check on that.
Okay, I think I'd prefer June.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Like, because it buys us a little more time.
Yeah, and that might be an opportunity to put some of the management plan items out for discussion,
Sure.
for feedback.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep.
Put some management plan that we could do a little map that just shows the conceptual routes, like, yeah, just kind of general information on where we're at.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. Okay, so if you could check on that, we'll tentatively
No
see.
problem.
Do that. Okay, in terms of new business, the Route 346 field. So a couple of weeks ago, I met with Tara and Colby Harwood, and Colby is the president of Palma Youth Sports. And we just had a general conversation about the field and needs and concerns about the field. And so I know that the town road department is looking at adding, like scooping out some grass and putting in some gravel for a parking lot in the front there, but it's a little more complicated because that's Route 346 is a state highway. So you have to get a permit for that. And you also need to keep so many feet out of the right of way, which begins at the center line in the road. So they're working on that. They're specialists in that. They also talked about, I guess on the south side, the brush has really grown in over the last few years, and they looked at the town landscaper, I guess we'd call it. I think it's Tristan currently
Mhm.
does that to clear that off. We talked about some other things. They're concerned about the bleachers. So Tara is asking the town's insurance agent to go down and look at the bleachers for safety. And so there's a few things, but one item that would be very helpful is that the field has no sign.
Recreational signage.
No sign whatsoever. It doesn't have entrance or exit. It doesn't have a sign. It doesn't have an address. So, well, the other things, we could put a list together, and there are some potential funding vehicles, which is this Building Communities grant, which is a full match grant. And then there's a couple that could be identified. A more pressing need that we thought would be very helpful is a sign that would look very much like the sign here at Town Hall, except it would have the name of the field, 911 address, and it would match the town's theme.
Mhm.
So the ask for that is, I don't know if it needs to be a double-sided sign or if it's going to face the road. So I don't know if it's going to be this way or this way. But the cost for a double-sided is about $850. And then you need a couple posts for installation, and the road department would install it. So the ask of Parks and Rec is if we would be willing to pay for the sign to be installed at the field. And maybe some exit or entrance signs and something like that. But I thought maybe if we could consider like $1,000 and,
Yeah,
call it that, I think that would be a big improvement
absolutely.
for the
Yep,
field. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's just such a silly thing to have this great resource and not like let people know that it's even there. Yeah, I think that's a great use of money.
When people come from out of town to play at the field.
They're not sure.
They're like, sorry, I can't give you an address and there's no sign, so just kind of drive until you see a field.
That will be on the sign.
That's funny.
Does
Yeah.
the 850 include the design of the sign or?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It's, the town has a consultant we
Yeah.
work with
Yeah.
who, this theme has been developed and is going to continue at all town-owned items, and the field is owned by the town. So that included the design work and a double-sided sign. So that would be the most expensive.
So I wonder if we should talk with whoever is doing these signs and see if they have kind of, what's the sort of smallest version that you could possibly do that sort of has that same design element, and just sort of price it out for doing other like recreational signs in town.
Yeah, it is. I think it is important, and the graphic designer would know more than me, to keep a theme in everything that you do.
I did design that one down there,
Okay.
because Joyce had approached me, but I think whatever I designed originally possibly went to that consultant anyway, and then she
Yes.
probably adapted it to whatever, so.
Okay.
But, if I could I can take a look at it or something, but.
Sure. So that was one item, and then, I
You need
just,
to make a motion and vote on that, or?
yeah, I was gonna say, someone would want to make a motion.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to commit to contributing $1,000 to purchase a sign for the youth sports field.
Second it.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
I just wondered if,
Yep.
I know it's Cal Ripken down there. I think they do have a Cal Ripken sign. I wonder if that's required to be in the sign. I don't know. I think that different ball organizations have different requirements. I don't know.
Mm.
Don't know,
Might be
it's a
worth
soccer
investigating.
field too now, so it's not exclusively baseball,
Yeah.
but, it has no sign right now. So I don't know, I couldn't answer that. Yeah, okay, we can check on that. All right, is there any other thought or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Great. So I'll continue to work, once the adjuster comes, we'll come up with like a needs list. And there might be an opportunity to install like a small playground or something recreational there as well. So, work in progress.
And that would be the building communities grant.
There, yeah, that would be the building communities grant. It's a 50% match, and you have to have it raised before you apply for the grant.
Okay.
So
we would just do some like fundraising in the community to try and raise the other half of it or something?
yeah, we could get some, Pownell Youth Sports would be willing to commit monies. And however else, I think it's up to $25,000.
Okay.
But it is a 50-50 match, and you, with the application, you have to provide the funding, proof of that you have the funds.
Okay. Got it.
So it's like the last point of match. But when I look at this building communities grant, I could see that from a recreation perspective, that Bennington has taken advantage of it every year. And they've been successful, most recently with the pickleball courts was with this grant. And there have been other entities also that have been able to take advantage of it. So it's a September timeline.
We talked about a small playground here too, and a small for the younger kids, for the young
Yeah,
toddlers.
yeah. Definitely. All right, and the final item, well, we have just a few minutes left, is we used to have a ice skating rink that was originally on the court here, and then it moved down to the Route 346 field. And currently, the boards that were used to hold up the frame of it are stored inside the shed at Pownell Youth Sports down at the field. So we didn't put the rink up last year, and maybe not even the year before, I don't know. So I guess my question is, do we ever want to have an ice skating rink again?
Did people use it when it was up?
It's
They,
only up for 1 year, right?
we had it here
Used,
for
yeah.
a year, and we had it at the Route 346
Oh,
field
that's right, yeah.
for a year.
Mhm.
It did get used.
Mhm.
The tricky part is you do need to have volunteers maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
Shovel it and-
Shovel it and whatever you do to the,
Yes, Zamboni it.
You have to have water, I would assume, in close proximity.
Mhm.
yeah, we didn't really hear
No?
No, we didn't. But you know, I think one winter it was a dud because I think we had here 2 winters. It was a dud because the weather was.
Yeah, it keeps melting.
Just kept melting. So it's something you have to decide this month, but if we're not going to do it again, I would like to get the boards out of the Pownell Youth Sports shed.
Mhm.
And if we were going to do it again, we would need to purchase a new liner.
Okay. Do you know what the cost of that is?
It's like $300
Okay.
for the side.
Yeah, I mean, really the hard part's the volunteer labor, not the
That's
liner.
the day of setup, I mean, the setting up,
Yeah.
and then the fire department comes and fills it.
Mhm.
And like I said, the squeegee or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is of that. So, anyway.
I mean, I wonder if, I know this is kind of not necessarily a direct replacement, but like if we went and talked with like the, a couple of the local skating rinks, the one out in North Adams or whatever, to see if they could give the library a couple like free passes to go to the skating rink. That just like takes the edge off of not dealing with it ourselves, maybe.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's like, I mean, I'd love to see it there, but I don't want to have to go shovel it.
Yeah, and it might be nice to give the local ice skating rinks some business, right? I mean, I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
I have no idea. I
one
would
would hope.
assume they might be struggling like
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah, and also like you said, I mean, given the way weather's going, like I think it would be a coin toss every year whether any of the effort would be worth it or not. Because yeah, you never know whether it'll stay frozen.
Yep, so I'll put it on old business next month,
Mhm.
and then we'll make a final decision on that, and then we'll have to
Cool.
figure out what we want to do with the lumber that we purchased.
I wonder if we could repurpose that for something over here.
I don't know, maybe we could make benches for the forest with it or something.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, make a picnic table or something like that. Yeah, sure. That's a cool idea.
All right, so next meeting date and time. So, let's see, where are we? So the second Tuesday of May is the 13th. Does everyone sound reasonable to everyone?
I probably won't be able to make that one.
Okay.
That doesn't prevent you all
Yeah,
meeting without me.
right. Hannah, is there any public comment? No, there's not. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, John.